You are about to uncover the hidden pattern, the universal design that connects every coincidence, signal, and moment of alignment. As you listen, you'll awaken to the truth that nothing happens by chance. The universe has always been speaking to you through signs, waiting for you to remember how to listen. The Hidden Pattern Introduction. In the ancient scrolls of forgotten wisdom, there is told the story of Rayan, a wanderer of the endless desert. Night after night, beneath a cathedral of stars, he would kneel upon the sand and draw lines that mirrored the constellations above. Each mark traced not his path, but the unseen order of life itself, the bird that guided him to water, the stranger whose words completed his unspoken thought, the glimmering coin that led him home. In time, Rayan understood. These were not accidents, but the quiet whisper of a living intelligence that breathes through all things. The universe speaks in symbols and rhythm. It weaves its message through coincidence, through the perfect timing of a meeting, through the thought that manifests before your eyes. You have felt it, the pulse of something vast moving through your days, arranging each moment with impossible precision. This is the hidden pattern, the secret architecture of creation, revealed through 4 sacred channels: the echo, the mirror, the bridge, and the signal. The echo returns your intention through mirrored events. The mirror reflects your inner vibration through the outer world. The bridge links separate moments into divine sequence, and the signal arrives as knowing, subtle, prophetic, and often 4 days before your desire takes form. These are not mysteries to be solved, but laws to be remembered, laws as ancient and constant as gravity. Just as the spider spins its web from inner design, so too does consciousness weave the universe around your awareness. Your task is not to command this pattern, but to become attuned to its song. Recall the times when everything aligned with effortless grace, when events unfolded as if guided by an unseen hand. That was the pattern speaking, inviting you to remember your place within its eternal design. For when you see the pattern, you cease to chase manifestation. You begin to flow with it. And in that flow, life becomes not a struggle, but a conversation between your soul and the infinite. As Rayan once said, beneath the starlit dunes, "The pattern revealed itself not when I searched for it, but when I learned to see what had always been." Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Signal Before Manifestation. Chapter 1. The Clock That Blinked Twice. Within the tapestry of existence, signals whisper their messages before events unfold. At exactly 4:44 each morning, the digital numbers on Penny's bedside clock would flicker twice, a rhythm as consistent as dawn itself. She noticed this dance of digits always preceded moments of significance in her life, like nature's own announcement system. The universe speaks in patterns, creating ripples in the fabric of time before manifestation occurs. Just as a stone's impact sends waves across still water before reaching shore, your desires generate vibrations through the cosmic field before taking physical form. These signals serve as sacred messengers, announcing the approach of that which you have set in motion. When Penny learned to honor these morning signals, treating them not as coincidence, but as confirmation. The time between signal and manifestation began to shrink. The numbers became her faithful companions, marking the threshold between intention and reality. Her awareness created a bridge between the unseen and the seen. Miles away, Calvin discovered his own pattern, the same song playing 3 times before every major breakthrough, the same stranger appearing at crucial crossroads. At first, he dismissed these echoes as mere chance. Yet as he began to acknowledge them, to bow inwardly at their appearance, the pattern grew stronger, clearer, more precise in its timing. The law remains constant. Recognition amplifies resonance. When you acknowledge the signal, you participate in its unfolding. Your attention becomes the lock, and the pattern itself becomes the key, turning possibility into presence. The universe's language of synchronicity speaks most clearly to those who learn to listen. Ancient practice of pattern recognition. As night draws near and you prepare for rest, breathe deeply and whisper this invitation to the universe. Let tomorrow's pattern blink before me. Release the request into the void without attachment. Upon waking, maintain gentle vigilance. Note the moments that echo, repeated numbers on clocks, familiar faces in unexpected places, songs that follow you through the day. Each repetition serves as a doorbell announcing the future's arrival. Acknowledge these signals with gratitude, for they mark the threshold where intention transforms into reality. Let your awareness rest lightly on these patterns, neither grasping nor dismissing, but simply witnessing their dance in your consciousness. Chapter 2. The Pendulum of Thought. In the heart of the bustling city, a young woman named Dottie sat at her desk, her thoughts oscillating wildly between extremes. One moment she envisioned herself as a celebrated artist, her paintings adorning gallery walls. The next, she saw herself climbing the corporate ladder in a prestigious firm. These conflicting visions created ripples in her reality. Job interviews led nowhere, opportunities slipped away, and her path seemed to mirror her scattered thoughts. Enter Amara, whose wisdom carried the weight of ages. She invited Dottie to her garden, where a crystal pendant hung from an ancient oak branch. "Watch," she instructed, setting the crystal in motion. "Your mind swings like this pendant, from dream to dream, possibility to possibility. But manifestation occurs not in the swing, but in the stillness. The universe responds not to the intensity of desire, but to the clarity of intention. When your thoughts swing between extremes, they create opposing forces that neutralize potential. The hidden pattern requires a steady point of focus, a still center from which reality can take form. This truth became evident through Lawrence, a musician who had spent years frantically pursuing success. His desperate energy scattered his efforts until he learned the art of calm intention. In the quiet hours before dawn, he would sit with his guitar, neither forcing nor grasping, simply being present with his music. It was then, in that space of peaceful certainty, that opportunities began to materialize. Record deals emerged, collaborations formed, and success flowed naturally, not because he chased it more fervently, but because he had found his center. The pattern responds to equilibrium. When your mind ceases its restless swinging, when your intention finds its still point, reality crystallizes around that clarity. like a lake's surface must calm before it can perfectly reflect the sky. Your consciousness must settle before it can mirror your desires into existence. Ancient practice of the still point. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and picture a swinging pendant. With each breath, observe its arc decreasing, moving less and less until it hangs perfectly still, glowing with potential. Feel how this stillness resonates through your being, how it hums reality into focus. In this centered state, hold your intention, not with force, but with the quiet certainty of truth already manifested. Chapter 3. The Whisper That Named the Day. In a quiet mountain village, a shepherd tended his flock as generations had before him. Each morning, an inner voice would whisper guidance, which path to take, which sheep needed attention when storms approached. At first, he dismissed these whispers as imagination, until every prediction manifested with precise accuracy. The voice saved his flock from unseen dangers and led him to abundant grazing grounds that sustained them through harsh winters. This ancient wisdom speaks through you as well. The universe's guidance flows not through thunderous proclamations, but through subtle whispers that brush against your consciousness. These gentle nudges arise from the depths of your being, carrying messages from the hidden pattern itself. The voice speaks in feelings first, a warmth in your chest, a lightness in your step, an inexplicable knowing that precedes understanding. This is not mere intuition, but the pattern's architecture revealing itself through your emotional body. When you learn to recognize these sensations, you begin to read the universe's first language. Trust builds slowly, like morning light spreading across a valley. Each time you heed the whisper and witness its manifestation, your connection to the pattern strengthens. The voice grows clearer not through force, but through patient attention and willing receptivity. Consider the merchant Stanley, who prided himself on logic and careful planning. Intrigued by a series of coincidences that defied probability, he began documenting every inner prompting in a leather-bound journal. Day after day, he recorded the subtle hints that preceded events, the urge to take a different route home, the feeling to call an old friend, the inexplicable certainty about a business decision. As weeks turned to months, his journal revealed an undeniable pattern. What he had dismissed as random chance showed itself as intelligent design. The very act of tracking these whispers transformed them from fleeting thoughts into a tangible language of manifestation. Your inner voice awaits recognition. It speaks not to your doubts, but to your deepest wisdom. Through this voice, the pattern reveals its next unfolding. Every whisper carries the seed of future manifestation, requiring only your willingness to listen and trust. The ancient practice. When a small inner voice speaks today, write it instantly. Read it aloud at dusk, not for proof, but for partnership. Let the act of recording become a sacred dialogue between you and the pattern's wisdom. In this simple ritual, you acknowledge the bridge between whisper and manifestation, between the unseen and the manifest world. Chapter 4. The Road That Bent Toward You. The hidden voice of the universe often speaks through the very paths we walk. Through countless ages, those who have understood this truth have witnessed reality itself conform to their aligned purpose. Such was the lesson that unfolded for a young woman named Faye. Each morning, Faye would rush through crowded streets, her mind filled with worry about missed connections and lost opportunities. She calculated alternate routes, checked multiple schedules, and still found herself running into dead ends and detours. The more she fought against these perceived obstacles, the more frequently they appeared. Then one day, exhausted from her constant struggle, she surrendered. In that moment of release, something extraordinary occurred. The streets seemed to reshape themselves before her. A construction site that had blocked her usual path suddenly opened a perfect corridor. A delayed train arrived precisely as she reached the platform. What appeared as coincidence revealed itself as the hidden pattern at work. The universe operates through magnetic resonance. When your inner state aligns with your deepest desires, physical reality begins to mirror this harmony. The very ground beneath your feet responds to the frequency of your being. This is not metaphor, but the precise operation of universal law. Consider Eldon, a merchant who spent years frantically searching for rare artifacts. His desperate pursuit led only to empty marketplaces and missed opportunities. Yet when he finally stilled his anxious mind and trusted in divine timing, those same treasures began appearing in the most unexpected places. The shift occurred not in his external actions, but in his internal alignment. This is the secret known to the ancient ones. The paths you walk are not fixed, but fluid. They respond to the energy you emanate. When you release the grip of fear and align with trust, the very geography of your life begins to transform. Streets curve to meet your needs, timing adjusts to serve your purpose, and what seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Your footsteps carry power, not through force, but through harmony with the hidden pattern. Every step taken in alignment becomes a dance with destiny. The earth itself conspires to guide you toward your highest good when you learn to trust its whispered directions. Ancient practice of path alignment. Find a quiet space where you can walk undisturbed. Stand still for a moment and picture the earth beneath you as a living, responsive presence. Feel how it gently shifts and tilts, creating perfect paths toward everything meant for you. Take a few slow, mindful steps forward, sensing how the ground lovingly adjusts to support your journey. Let each step become a silent affirmation of your trust in the universe's perfect guidance. Chapter 5. The Jar of Unopened Letters. In the ancient valleys of time, a truth whispers through the ages. Your words, when infused with pure intention and released to the future, become seeds planted in the fertile soil of tomorrow. You have within you a power that transcends the linear march of time. Each thought, each deeply felt intention, creates ripples in the fabric of reality that echo forward, waiting to meet you at the perfect moment of recognition. A merchant once observed this mystery at work. Each morning before opening his shop, he would write a single line describing the kind of day he wished to experience. Not demands, but gentle whispers of possibility sealed in ink. Months later, upon discovering these forgotten notes, he found each one had manifested, not in the urgent time frame his anxious mind had once desired, but in a richer, more complete form than he could have imagined. The universe operates through a principle of divine timing. When you release your desires without desperate attachment to their immediate fulfillment, you allow them to mature in the invisible realm. Like wine aging in darkness, intentions grow more potent when given space to breathe. This is the art of delayed manifestation. Not a postponement of your good, but its perfect cultivation. When you write to your future self, you create a bridge across time. Your words become vessels carrying today's pure potential to tomorrow's manifestation. The power lies not in the writing itself, but in the emotional resonance you embed within each word. Feel the reality of what you describe as you write it. Let your heart infuse the ink with the certainty of fulfillment. Then, release it completely. Surrender it to the wisdom of universal timing. When you later rediscover these notes, you'll find they've acted as anchors, drawing your desired reality into form through the most elegant and unexpected paths. The universe delights in surprising you with how your intentions have bloomed into even greater manifestations than you initially conceived. Ancient practice of future letters. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises. Take a single sheet of paper and write at its top. When you read this, it has happened. Beneath these words, describe the reality you wish to experience as if it has already manifested. Write with your heart open, feeling the joy and gratitude of its completion. Seal this letter and hide it away without attachment. Let time weave its magic. When the letter finds you again, witness how the universe has honored your words with its perfect orchestration. Your written intentions are seeds planted in tomorrow's garden. Trust in their flowering, for the pattern that governs all things ensures no true desire goes unfulfilled. In surrendering to divine timing, you allow your manifestations to ripen to their fullest potential. Chapter 6. The Sky That Dimmed to Speak. Once there lived a young woman in a valley where the mountains touched the sky. Each morning she noticed shapes forming in the clouds before moments of significance in her life. A dove before receiving peaceful news, a bridge before meeting someone who would help her cross a difficult passage, a key before unlocking a solution she had long sought. The universe speaks through the canvas of the sky, painting messages in vapor and light. Your inner state creates ripples that extend far beyond the boundaries of your physical form, reflecting back to you through the subtle language of nature. The clouds above are not mere collections of water droplets. They are mirrors of consciousness, responding to the weather patterns of your thoughts and beliefs. When your mind is clouded with doubt, the sky often mirrors this turbulence. Yet as clarity dawns within, the heavens respond in kind. This is not mere coincidence, but the working of an ancient law. The outer must always reflect the inner. Just as a still pond perfectly mirrors the sky above, your environment reflects the quality of your consciousness. A merchant named Franklin discovered this truth during a period of deep confusion in his life. For weeks, a persistent fog had settled over his town, matching his unclear state of mind about an important decision. On the morning he finally gained clarity about his path forward, the fog lifted suddenly, revealing a brilliant blue sky. The timing was no accident. It was the pattern showing him that inner certainty creates outer clarity. The atmosphere around you is constantly responding to your inner atmosphere. When you maintain thoughts of abundance, the sky often displays expansive, generous formations. When you cultivate peace within, clouds arrange themselves in harmonious patterns. The universe uses this visual language to confirm your alignment with its flow. Watch how the sky changes as your thoughts shift. Notice how moments of breakthrough are often preceded by unique cloud formations, nature's way of signaling approaching transformation. The pattern speaks through these atmospheric signs, showing you that reality itself is as moldable as the clouds above. Your practice. Stand beneath the open sky and speak these words with gentle intention. Show me my reflection. Observe how the clouds respond, shifting and forming patterns that mirror your inner state. Let this remind you that creation itself moves in harmony with your consciousness, ready to reflect back the clarity and beauty you hold within. Chapter 7. The Handwritten Number. In a sunlit room, bathed in morning light, Opal discovered a folded note tucked between the chapters of her journal. Opening it with trembling fingers, she found her own distinctive handwriting, the peculiar way she curved her Y's and crossed her T's. The note read, "When the clock strikes 3, fortune smiles." She knew, with absolute certainty, that she had never written these words. Your relationship with time is far more fluid than you have been led to believe. The boundaries between present, past, and future exist only in the mind's attempt to organize experience. In truth, all moments exist simultaneously, like countless rooms in an infinite mansion. What you perceive as linear progression is merely your consciousness walking from one room to another. When you quiet your mind and align with the universe's deeper rhythms, messages from other rooms begin to filter through. Your future self is as real as your present self, separated only by the thin veil of perception. The wisdom you will gain already exists, reaching backward through time to guide you forward. Victor resisted his recurring sense of déjà vu until he recognized it as navigation from his future self. Each time he felt that peculiar double awareness, that sense of, "I've been here before," he began to pay attention rather than dismiss it. Soon, he noticed these moments preceded significant choices. His future consciousness was marking the path, leaving signs at crucial crossroads. These breadcrumbs of guidance appear when you open yourself to their possibility. Numbers repeat, symbols emerge, and synchronicities multiply not because reality bends, but because you've finally attuned yourself to the pattern's presence. Your future self constantly communicates through the language of intuition, leaving marks that only you will recognize. The Sacred Number. Practice. Find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Take a clean sheet of paper and hold it between your palms. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your mind to drift beyond the constraints of linear time. When you feel centered, let a number arise naturally in your consciousness. It may appear as a vision, a feeling, or a knowing. Write this number on the paper, fold it 3 times, and place it somewhere you'll forget. When it resurfaces, its significance will be clear, a message from your future self finally delivering its meaning. Trust in this. The universe's wisdom flows both forward and backward through time, and you are always in conversation with your becoming. Chapter 8. The Lantern Underwater. There once lived a young woman named Clara, who kept a peculiar brass lantern passed down through generations. One stormy night, as she crossed the ancient stone bridge near her village, the lantern slipped from her grasp and fell into the dark waters below. To her amazement, its flame continued to burn beneath the surface, casting a gentle golden glow through the rippling water. This truth lies before you now. Your inner light requires no external validation to shine. Just as Clara's lantern defied natural law by continuing its vigil beneath the waves, your creative force persists independent of circumstance. The universe operates through this principle. What burns within you cannot be extinguished by external conditions. When you align with this wisdom, you understand that manifestation flows not from favorable conditions, but from an internal flame that burns regardless of surrounding waters. Your power to create remains constant, even when life's currents seem to submerge your hopes. The depth of water above the lantern matters not. Light knows no opposition except the belief in darkness. In a distant valley, a man named Rufus faced the loss of everything he held precious. His fields lay barren, his home weathered by storms. Yet in his darkest hour, he discovered an unwavering certainty in his heart, a light that no circumstance could dim. This inner knowing guided him to plant seeds when others claimed the soil was dead. His crops flourished, not because conditions changed, but because his inner light remained steady despite them. Your creative force operates by similar principles. Like Clara's submerged lantern, it requires no permission from circumstance to illuminate possibility. The universe responds not to external conditions, but to the unwavering light of your conviction. When you grasp this truth, you understand that today's limitations hold no power over tomorrow's manifestations. Practice of the submerged light. Find a quiet moment in darkness. Close your eyes and envision a lantern beneath clear water at night, its glow unchanged by the depths. Feel its steady radiance, untouched by the water surrounding it. Whisper softly, "My faith burns independent of circumstance." Let this image remind you that your power to create remains constant, regardless of life's changing tides. Chapter 9. The Dream in Reverse. In a small cottage tucked away among rolling hills, a weaver named Edna noticed something peculiar about her dreams. Each night, she witnessed events unfold in reverse, seeing outcomes before their causes emerged. She watched tapestries complete themselves before the threads were chosen, observed conversations end before they began, and saw flowers bloom backward into seeds. The universe speaks in circles, not lines. Your creative force moves like water, flowing both forward and back, touching both shore and source. When you grasp this truth, you understand that imagination is not mere fantasy, but preview of what approaches. The future casts shadows backward through time, touching you first in dreams, then thoughts, and finally in physical form. Just as Edna's reverse dreams revealed life's hidden choreography, your own imagining sketched tomorrow's reality. The pattern operates in cycles of completion. What you envision as end serves as beginning. Every manifestation first appears as finished form in consciousness before arranging the steps of its arrival. In your daily experience, what you call cause and effect dance as partners, neither truly leading nor following. The hidden pattern knows no sequence. It responds to recognition rather than chronology. When you trust this wisdom, you cease struggling to build events piece by piece, instead allowing your consciousness to reveal the complete picture. Milton, an artist in a bustling city, discovered this truth through an unusual approach to his work. Rather than planning each brushstroke, he began by feeling the completed painting's presence. He would sit before blank canvases and experience the finished piece as though observing it in a gallery. His most celebrated works emerged not from careful planning, but from this reversed perception. Effect teaching, hand how to create cause. The secret lies in treating imagination not as hopeful conjecture, but as memory in reverse. Your creative power activates most purely when you recall the future rather than construct it. The pattern responds not to effort, but to recognition, to your willingness to witness completion before sequence. Practice. Take a moment now to settle into stillness. Choose something you wish to manifest, and imagine it as a memory already lived. Feel the genuine gratitude of its completion washing over you. Let this feeling of thankfulness for what appears finished guide the pattern's arrangement of stepping stones toward its own beginning. Watch as life plays backward from this point of completion, showing you the path of its arrival. Remember, the future sends ripples backward through time. Your task is not to push reality forward, but to receive its echoes with grace, allowing what feels complete in consciousness to teach its own path into form. Chapter 10. The Chessboard with No Opponent. In an ancient marketplace beneath the golden sun, a merchant named Ruth spent her days challenging passers-by to games of strategy. Her skilled hands moved pieces across wooden boards, yet anxiety gnawed at her heart with each opponent's move. One morning, as she arranged her beloved ivory chess pieces, something extraordinary occurred. The pieces began shifting on their own, not in opposition, but in a harmonious dance. What you perceive as competition exists only in the mind that divides reality into separate forces. The universe knows no opposition. It is one vast expression, playing countless roles in perfect unity. When you release the illusion of separation, life reveals its collaborative nature. Every circumstance, every person, every challenge serves the whole. There are no enemies in the pattern, only different aspects of the same force learning to recognize itself. This truth manifested for Wallace, a craftsman who spent years viewing his workshop as a battlefield of competing interests. Each morning, he armored himself for conflict with suppliers, customers, and fellow artisans. But when exhaustion finally cracked his defenses, something shifted. In surrender, he discovered that what he fought against was fighting for him. His suppliers became advisors, customers transformed into partners, and fellow craftsmen offered support he never imagined possible. The pattern operates through unity, not division. What appears as opposition is merely the universe testing its own strength, like waves in an ocean playing at war while remaining one body of water. When you align with this understanding, life ceases to be a series of battles and becomes a choreographed celebration of mutual growth. Your role is not to overcome others, but to recognize yourself in them. Every person mirrors an aspect of your own consciousness. Every challenge reflects an opportunity for deeper self-realization. The game plays itself through countless forms, but there is only one player wearing infinite masks. This wisdom lies encoded in every competitive impulse, not to deny it, but to transcend it through understanding. When you see through the illusion of separateness, cooperation becomes your natural state. The pattern then flows unobstructed, manifesting harmony in all your endeavors. Sacred practice. Picture a chessboard glowing. Place every piece on one side, unified. Whisper, "There is only one player, us." Part 2. The Conversation Between Timelines. Chapter 11. the window that waited. Along the edges of an old farmhouse window, mist gathered in curious patterns each morning. Bessie, who lived alone in the countryside, noticed these ethereal markings appeared moments before unexpected company arrived at her door. First, a spiral would form in the corner of the glass. Then geometric shapes would emerge, each unique to the visitor about to appear. The hidden pattern speaks through the subtlest frequencies of existence. Your physical form serves as an antenna, receiving signals from the universe long before events materialize in the visible world. Just as animals sense approaching storms, your body wisdom detects the vibrations of incoming manifestations. When you quiet your mind and attune to these subtle frequencies, time compresses between intention and manifestation. Your solar plexus, the sacred center of intuition, resonates with approaching possibilities before they take physical form. This resonance appears as bodily sensations, visual signs, or atmospheric changes in your environment. In the village beyond the mountain pass, Cliff discovered his own connection to this ancient sensing system. His hands would tingle precisely 3 minutes before significant encounters. At first, he dismissed these sensations as mere coincidence. Yet as he learned to trust these physical whispers, the gap between premonition and manifestation grew shorter. The universe constantly broadcasts the approach of aligned experiences. Like a radio seeking its station, your body naturally tunes to these frequencies. The secret lies not in straining to perceive, but in allowing your natural receptivity to bloom. When you trust your body's wisdom, you step into the flow of divine timing. The hidden pattern weaves these moments of prescience into daily life, teaching you to recognize the language of approaching manifestation. Each fog pattern, each bodily sensation, each atmospheric shift carries a message. What you seek also seeks you. Your physical form knows the timing of arrival. The trick is not to force this knowing, but to settle into its natural rhythm. As you align with these subtle frequencies, manifestation accelerates, not through effort, but through recognition. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Place your hand upon your solar plexus, feeling the warmth beneath your palm. Close your eyes and breathe deeply into this center. Feel the gentle hum of universal energy flowing through this sacred space. Softly speak these words. I can feel arrivals before they appear. Let the warmth in your center guide you to perfect timing. Trust the body's natural attunement to the hidden patterns dance. Chapter 12. The Twin Candle Theory. In the stillness of dawn, when the world holds its breath between darkness and light, Bessie noticed her kitchen window begin to fog. Not in the usual way condensation forms, but in precise, deliberate patterns that spoke of imminent arrivals. The mist would spiral in the corners, then bloom into geometric shapes, each unique to the visitor about to grace her doorstep. This phenomenon speaks to a truth as old as time itself. Your body is an instrument of cosmic reception. Before events materialize in the physical realm, the universe sends ripples through the fabric of reality, subtle signals that dance at the edge of awareness. These signals manifest as bodily sensations, fleeting thoughts, or environmental changes that seem too precise to be coincidental. Think of your solar plexus as a sensitive compass, eternally aligned with the magnetic fields of forthcoming manifestations. When you learn to tune into these frequencies, you begin to recognize the language of anticipation. The body knows, it has always known, what approaches on the horizon of experience. Just as Bessie's window revealed the approaching footsteps of fate, your consciousness contains mechanisms of preview. The subtle flutter in your stomach, the unexpected warmth in your chest, the gentle pressure at your temples. These are not random sensations, but the universe's way of preparing you for alignment. Consider Laura's experiment with the twin candles. One flame represented hope, the other fear. As she sat in contemplation, the fearful flame flickered and struggled, while hope's light grew steady and bright. This simple demonstration reveals a profound truth about vibrational frequency. What you feed with attention gains dominance in your reality. Irving took this wisdom into his emotional landscape. Where anxiety once ruled his thoughts about the future, he consciously chose curiosity instead. With each shift in perspective, he watched as darker possibilities faded and brighter potentials gained clarity and strength. The pattern showed him that parallel timelines respond to the quality of our focus. Sacred practice. In the quiet of evening, light 2 candles, or imagine them clearly in your mind's eye. Let one represent your deepest hopes, the other your lingering fears. Watch them both with gentle attention. Thank the flame of fear for its protective intention, then slowly direct your breath and focus entirely to hope's steady glow. Feel the power of undivided attention as one light becomes your dominant reality. Chapter 13. The Moving Staircase. In a city of ancient towers and winding paths, June stood before a peculiar staircase that seemed suspended in mid-air. Though its marble steps gleamed invitingly, not a single one moved. For hours she watched others approach with frantic energy, their rushed footsteps meeting only resistance and frustration. Yet something within her whispered of a deeper truth. When June finally placed her foot upon the first step, she did so with the quiet certainty of one who understands that ascension begins in the spirit. With each breath aligned to inner knowing, she moved upward with graceful patience. As if awakening to her confidence, the stairs began to rise beneath her, matching her rhythm, step for step. The higher she climbed, the more effortless her journey became. The universe operates through this sacred principle. Movement follows mindset. Your path activates not through force or desperation, but through the serene authority of aligned belief. Each step exists in potential, awaiting the signal of your inner permission to materialize. Consider Emmett, who spent years frozen before his own metaphorical staircase. His mind crafted elaborate strategies and plans, yet his feet remained rooted to the ground. One morning, gazing at children playing on a spiral slide, he witnessed their pure trust in motion. Their laughter carried no hint of analysis or doubt, only joy in the journey itself. That moment transformed his understanding. Releasing his grip on control, Emmett approached his goals with the same playful trust. As his tension dissolved into acceptance, opportunities that had seemed locked began flowing naturally. His career advanced not through pushing, but through allowing. Relationships deepened not through effort, but through ease. The hidden pattern reveals itself through such moments of surrender. When you release the need to force the staircase into motion, you discover it has always been waiting to rise with you. Your ascent requires only one thing: the quiet confidence that each step will appear precisely when needed. Sacred practice. Find a peaceful space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes. Visualize steps materializing beneath each breath. Walk upward lightly until height feels effortless. Let each step form naturally, knowing the path rises to meet those who trust its timing.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook,
feel how effortless elevation becomes when aligned with
life.
inner certainty. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Broken Compass That Found North. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Georgia clutched an ancient brass compass, its arrow spinning wildly as she attempted to force it toward her destination. Her knuckles whitened with determination, yet the more intensely she willed it to point the way, the more frantically the needle whirled. Through hours of mounting frustration, she gripped the compass ever tighter, convinced that somehow her will could master its direction. The hidden pattern waited patiently for her revelation, as it always does when we mistake control for guidance. You see, the universe speaks in whispers that only a quiet mind can hear. When you grasp too tightly at direction, you silence the very wisdom trying to reach you. Like Georgia, you may find yourself caught in the illusion that certainty comes through force. As twilight approached, exhaustion finally loosened Georgia's grip. In that moment of surrender, something remarkable occurred. The compass needle ceased its endless spinning and settled with unwavering clarity toward home. The very direction she had struggled to find emerged effortlessly once she released her need to dictate its course. This truth echoes across all manifestation. Guidance flows not through domination, but through allowance. When you release your grip on how things should be, you open yourself to how they naturally align. Owen, a wandering philosopher, discovered this same principle while navigating life's uncertainties. For years he had crafted elaborate plans, attempting to predict and control every variable. Yet the more he tried to enforce his vision of the future, the more chaos seemed to reign. It was only when he embraced life's unpredictability that true direction emerged. By accepting that some paths reveal themselves only through trust, he found that divine guidance had been present all along, simply waiting for his resistance to subside. The hidden pattern operates through surrender, not force. Like a river that cannot be pushed but flows perfectly when unobstructed, your path clarifies itself when you release the need to control its course. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and sit comfortably. Place your hands over your heart, imagining an ancient compass resting in your palms. Feel its weight and significance. Softly speak these words: I am aligned by trust, not by struggle. Allow any tension to dissolve as you sense the compass needle within your heart finding its true north. Let this feeling of natural alignment remind you that guidance comes through acceptance, not effort. Chapter 15. The Message in Static. In a small cottage perched on the edge of a quiet village, Martha sat before an old radio, its wooden cabinet worn smooth by decades of hands, seeking connection through its dials. Static crackled through its speaker, a discordant symphony of interference that most would dismiss as meaningless noise. Yet Martha remained still, her fingers resting lightly on the tuning knob, waiting. The art of listening beyond the obvious reveals treasures hidden in plain sight. As you attune yourself to the deeper frequencies of life, what first appears as chaos transforms into coherence. Martha discovered this truth as she sat with the radio each morning, learning to distinguish the whispers of melody threading through the static. The hidden pattern speaks in frequencies that require a particular kind of attention, not the grasping focus of the analytical mind, but the receptive awareness that allows understanding to surface naturally. When Martha finally released her need to force clarity from confusion, the static began to shift. Notes emerged, then phrases, until entire melodies revealed themselves, having been present all along. This mirrors the way the universe communicates with you in each moment. What seems like random noise, the buzz of daily life, chance encounters, apparent obstacles, contains precise messages awaiting recognition. Your role is not to strain toward understanding, but to cultivate the art of reception. Claude, a musician who had lost his ability to compose, discovered this principle when he stopped fighting against his creative block. In the busy cafe where he sat each day, the clash of dishes, fragments of conversation, and street sounds outside initially felt like barriers to inspiration. Yet as he learned to listen differently, these sounds transformed into an orchestra of guidance. The rhythm of life itself became his teacher. The static in Martha's radio and the ambient noise in Claude's cafe were not obstacles to be overcome, but instruments through which the hidden pattern played its song. When you approach life's apparent chaos with this understanding, every moment becomes musical. Even the discordant notes serve the larger composition. The universe's guidance system operates through this subtle interplay of signal and noise. Your willingness to listen beyond surface distraction allows the deeper melody to emerge. Like Martha at her radio dial, you need only sit in patient attention, knowing that harmony already exists within the static. Practice. Listen to ordinary noise now. Detect rhythm within. Letting life's background hum reveals secret music of being guided. Chapter 16. The Map That Drew Itself. In a sunlit study overlooking ancient olive groves, Addie unfolded a map that held no markings, no lines, no indicators of what lay ahead. Most would see emptiness, but she recognized invitation. The pristine parchment whispered of possibilities yet unnamed. You, too, hold such a map within your consciousness, a canvas awaiting the gentle touch of trust. When you release the need to plot every turn, the universe begins its artistry, sketching routes more elegant than logic could devise. As Addie sat with the blank map before her, she closed her eyes and allowed faith to fill her heart. When she looked again, fine golden lines had begun appearing, tracing pathways she hadn't known to seek. This is how the hidden pattern operates, through the alchemy of trust, transmuting empty space into divine direction. The map responds not to force, but to faith. Consider Marvin, who had spent years attempting to orchestrate perfect vacation plans, only to face constant setbacks and complications. One morning, he sat at his desk, exhausted from trying. Instead of grasping at details, he simply held the intention of a journey that would bring joy and renewal. Within days, synchronicities began arranging themselves, an unexpected invitation, a canceled event that opened perfect timing, a last-minute opportunity that surpassed his original vision. The universe delights in surprising those who surrender their maps to its wisdom. Your path reveals itself not through rigid planning, but through the gentle unfolding of trust. Each step illuminates the next, but only as you take it. This is the paradox of divine guidance. Clarity comes through movement, not through knowing the full journey in advance. When you release your grip on how things must unfold, you allow the hidden pattern to reveal solutions beyond imagination's reach. The blank spaces in your life are not voids to be feared, but sacred canvas awaiting heaven's brush. Practice. Unfold an imaginary map before you. As you breathe deeply, watch golden light begin tracing paths of possibility. With each exhale, feel the territory of ease expanding. Let the map fill itself, knowing that empty space is merely potential awaiting your trust to take form. Your openness becomes the ink with which destiny writes its promises. Chapter 17. The Rain That Fell Upward. In a tranquil garden, a woman named Joy stood motionless, watching an extraordinary sight. As sunlight pierced through storm clouds, raindrops began to defy gravity, rising like crystalline stars returning to their celestial home. This wasn't mere illusion. It was nature revealing one of its most sacred mysteries. When you understand the fluid dance between descent and ascension, you grasp a fundamental truth of the hidden pattern. Nothing falls without the potential to rise again. Every tear shed contains within it the seed of future joy, waiting to be transformed through the alchemy of acceptance. The universe operates in perfect equilibrium. What descends must eventually ascend. Your emotions follow this same divine principle. When sorrow weighs heavy in your heart, it gathers not to burden you, but to build potential energy for transformation. Like water drawn into clouds before becoming rain, your feelings cycle through necessary stages of transformation. Consider how Vernon discovered this truth during his darkest hour. Overwhelmed by loss, he sat beneath a weeping willow, his grief matching the drooping branches above. Yet as he began to thank each tear for the love it represented, something shifted. His sorrow, acknowledged and honored, began to transmute. First came peace, then acceptance, and finally, unexpectedly, laughter bubbled up from the very well of his pain. The energy of his grief hadn't vanished. It had transformed, rising like morning mist to nourish new growth. This is the hidden wisdom of emotional transmutation. Feelings are forms of energy seeking elevation. When you resist them, they stagnate. When you embrace them with gratitude, they naturally rise, transforming into higher frequencies of experience. Your heaviest moments carry the greatest potential for upliftment, like compressed springs waiting to expand. The pattern teaches that every descent prepares for ascension. Your tears water the soil of future joy. Your challenges build the pressure that propels breakthrough. Nothing is lost in the universe's economy of energy. Everything transforms. Everything rises again. Ancient practice of ascension. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Envision raindrops ascending from your heart, each one carrying a weight you're ready to transform. Watch as they rise effortlessly, drawn upward by golden light. Feel the lightness spread through your being as each drop returns to the luminous clouds above. Let this gentle release remind you, what descends always contains the power to rise again. Chapter 18. The Photograph That Smiled Back. Long ago, in a small attic room filled with dust-covered memories, Lucinda discovered an old photograph of herself at age 7. At first glance, the image showed a solemn child with downcast eyes. Yet each time she gazed upon it with forgiveness in her heart, the photograph seemed to alter, the girl's expression softening, her eyes brightening, until an unmistakable smile emerged where sadness once dwelt. This transformation speaks to a profound truth within the hidden pattern. Time is not the rigid line you imagine. Your present consciousness reaches backward, touching and transforming what appears unchangeable. Every moment you choose love over resentment ripples across your timeline, healing not just now, but then. When you understand this principle, you recognize that the past exists not in stone, but in light, responsive to the frequency of your current awareness. Your memories are not fixed recordings, but living energy fields awaiting your higher understanding to reshape them. Dennis discovered this when facing his family's troubled history. For years, he carried the weight of childhood discord, each memory a heavy stone in his heart. Then one day, rather than trying to forget or rewrite these memories, he began blessing them. With each blessing, the energy of those moments shifted. Family members he hadn't spoken to in years suddenly reached out. Ancient grievances dissolved without discussion. He hadn't changed the events. He had transformed their resonance. The pattern reveals that time flows in both directions. Your compassion today nurtures your younger self. Your forgiveness now soothes past wounds. Every moment of acceptance creates a healing wave that moves backward through your timeline, touching all previous versions of yourself with grace. This is not mere psychological comfort. It is quantum reality. The observer affects the observed, even across time. When you shift your perception of past events, you literally alter their energetic imprint in the universal field. The child in the photograph smiles wider because your love reaches back to when the picture was taken, creating a new timeline of healing. Your past is not a museum of fixed exhibits, but a garden responding to your present attention. Water it with forgiveness, shine the light of understanding upon it, and watch as new blooms emerge where thorns once grew. Ancient practice of timeline. Healing. Close your eyes, see your younger self. Let your heart fill with unconditional love as you gaze upon this precious being. Watch as your love transforms their expression, bringing forth their natural radiance. When they return your smile, whisper gently, "We changed it together." Feel the ripple of healing moving through all the years between then and now, creating a new timeline of peace. Chapter 19. The Shape Behind Silence. In a small meditation room lit only by a single candle, Agatha sat motionless, her eyes closed. As the external world faded, something extraordinary emerged in the darkness behind her eyelids, geometric patterns pulsing with living light. First triangles, then hexagons, spiraling into complex mandalas that seemed to carry messages in their very structure. These patterns were not mere imagination. They were the blueprint of creation itself, revealing how the universe assembles reality from the raw material of consciousness. Each sacred form that danced in Agatha's vision corresponded to an emotional frequency she held. Gratitude shaped itself into golden spirals, while peace manifested as perfect circles of azure light. The universe speaks first in pattern, then in form. Every manifestation begins as sacred geometry in the realm of pure potential, arranging itself according to the vibration of your thoughts. These living symbols are the architecture of tomorrow, the skeletal structure upon which physical reality builds itself. Norman discovered this truth during his morning meditations. Each day, he would focus on pure gratitude, watching as crystalline patterns formed in his mind's eye. Within days, these same patterns began manifesting in his external reality. A perfect business opportunity appeared, mirroring the exact hexagonal structure he had witnessed in meditation. A chance meeting arranged itself precisely as the intersecting circles had shown him. This is the hidden mechanism of manifestation. Consciousness first arranges itself geometrically in the subtle realm before precipitating into physical form. Your emotions are not formless. They create specific sacred patterns that become the templates for physical reality. Joy creates one pattern, abundance another. These geometric frequencies are the bridge between thought and form. When you learn to perceive these patterns, you begin to understand how reality constructs itself. Each shape is a letter in the alphabet of creation. The universe is not random. It is precise, mathematical, and divinely ordered. Your role is to become conscious of this sacred geometry as it assembles itself through you. Ancient mystery schools taught that before every physical manifestation, there is a geometric blueprint. These patterns are the grammar of God's language, the way the infinite expresses itself through form. When you attune to these sacred shapes, you participate consciously in creation's dance. Practice. Sit silently. Sense patterns assembling behind closed eyes. Know these lights are tomorrow constructing itself. Let the geometry of creation reveal itself through your stillness. Sit within the hush of your own breath, an interior sanctuary where awareness widens beyond thought. Behind your closed eyes, gentle constellations begin to flicker, forming shapes that seem both ancient and unborn. These are the blueprints of tomorrow, luminous equations sketching themselves upon the fabric of your consciousness. You are not merely watching. You are the witnessing field where possibility takes form. As you remain still, the lights organize into geometry, sacred and fluid. Lines intersect like intentions meeting destiny. Circles pulse like heartbeats of divine rhythm. Every symmetry you perceive is a mirror of your own coherence returning. In your silence, creation finds permission to move, to align, to breathe itself into being through you. Know this moment as collaboration with the cosmos. Each second of stillness refines the pattern. Each breath anchors light into matter. When you open your eyes again, let the residue of that geometry guide your day. You are the architect and the canvas, the observer and the unfolding design. Chapter 20. The Seed That Waited for Moonlight. A simple wooden basket rested in Vera's garden, filled with seeds that refused to stir beneath the sun. Day after day, she tended the soil with devotion, yet not a single sprout emerged. The earth remained silent, holding its secrets until one evening when the full moon cast its silver light across her garden. In that ethereal glow, the seeds awakened. What seemed lifeless moments before now pushed through soil with gentle determination. As moonbeams caressed each emerging shoot, Vera understood the hidden pattern moves according to its own celestial timing. The seeds had always held life within them. They simply awaited the perfect confluence of light and darkness, of readiness and receptivity. This truth extends beyond the garden. Every dream you plant within your heart follows this same divine schedule. Your desires are like these moon-touched seeds. They require not just physical preparation, but the exact emotional climate for manifestation. When Carter opened his business, failure shadowed his first attempts. Yet the universe waited, patient, precise, until his inner landscape matched his outer ambition. With each passing month, as fear dissolved from Carter's consciousness, his enterprise flourished naturally, effortlessly. The timing wasn't arbitrary. It was exquisitely calibrated to his spiritual evolution. Success arrived not when he demanded it, but when his inner soil had been properly prepared. This is the wisdom whispered by the moon-blessed garden. The hidden pattern never rushes creation. It allows each seed of intention to germinate in perfect accordance with your readiness to receive. What appears as delay is actually divine precision, ensuring your manifestation emerges at the moment of greatest power. Your role in this process is sacred participation through patience, not the restless waiting that exhausts, but the peaceful trust that nourishes. Like Vera's seeds responding to moonlight, your dreams activate when your consciousness reaches the proper vibration. The ancient practice: sit quietly in evening's embrace. Cup your hands as though holding a precious seed filled with pure potential. Feel it pulse with hidden life, waiting for its moment of emergence. Then whisper gently, "You will blossom when all is kind." Release all urgency and rest in the certainty that the hidden pattern's timing is impeccable. Your dream is already growing in the soil of spirit, reaching toward its destined hour of manifestation. Part 3. The Arrival of What Was Always Coming. Chapter 21. The Breath That Counted Days. In the ancient city of Marrakech, Lila would sit in her garden courtyard each dawn, noting how her breath seemed to dance with the universe's hidden rhythms. At first, she dismissed the pattern as coincidence, how her breathing naturally slowed and deepened in the 4 days preceding moments of unexpected fortune. Yet time and again, this subtle shift in her respiratory rhythm proved a faithful herald of blessings to come. When abundance flowed into her life, a long-awaited letter, a fortuitous encounter, an answered prayer, she could trace back to find those 4 days of altered breath. Like the gentle tide before a wave reaches shore, her body knew what her mind had yet to grasp. The breath carries ancient wisdom, speaking in the language of the hidden pattern. Each inhalation draws in not just air, but possibility. Each exhalation releases resistance to what seeks to manifest. Your physical breath mirrors the breathing of the universe itself, the eternal cycle of creation taking form. Sam, a merchant who frequented the spice markets, noticed his own racing thoughts reflected in shallow, anxious breathing. Remembering Lila's teaching, he began to consciously align his breath with the 4-day rhythm. Inhaling deeply for 4 counts, holding briefly, then releasing for 4 counts. He maintained this practice faithfully. By the 4th day, his entire being had shifted into a state of calm receptivity. It was then that the opportunities he had been seeking began to materialize, not through force or struggle, but through the natural convergence of preparation and timing. The breath serves as bridge between the visible and invisible realms. When you attune to its subtle messages, you align with the hidden pattern's perfect orchestration. Your breath becomes both compass and key, pointing toward and unlocking the doorways of manifestation. The 4-day cycle mirrors nature's own rhythms, the phases of the moon, the turning of seasons, the stages of growth. By honoring this timing through conscious breathing, you participate in the universe's grand choreography. Let your breath become your teacher. Notice its natural variations, its subtle shifts before blessed change arrives. The pattern speaks through this most basic rhythm of life. When you feel its gentle nudge toward deeper breathing, know that creation stirs beneath the surface of your experience. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into comfortable stillness. Begin counting your breaths in cycles of 4. With the first breath, whisper anticipation as you inhale the promise of what approaches. On the second breath, say trust as you breathe in complete faith in divine timing. The third breath carries release as you exhale all doubt and resistance. With the fourth breath, speak arrival as you welcome manifestation's perfect unfolding. Continue this rhythm until you feel peaceful expectancy fill your being. Chapter 22. The Door That Knocked First. A gentle rhythm pulses through the hidden architecture of creation, first within, then without. Like waves that begin in ocean depths before reaching shore, all manifestation starts in the silent chambers of consciousness before emerging into form. In a small mountain village, where mist clung to ancient stone walls, Hattie spent her days crafting pottery in solitude. Each morning, she would sit at her wheel, waiting for inspiration to guide her hands. Yet inspiration remained elusive, until one peculiar dawn when she heard distinct knocking from inside her closed wooden door. At first, she rushed to open it, expecting a visitor, but the path outside lay empty, wrapped in morning silence. The knocking continued, somehow emanating from within the door itself. In that moment, understanding dawned. The sound wasn't meant to herald another's arrival, but to awaken her own. When you align with the universe's deeper currents, what appears as external guidance often reveals itself as your own wisdom speaking. The door between inner and outer reality becomes permeable, allowing buried knowing to surface. Gerald discovered this truth through a different door. For years, he pursued success through conventional paths, chasing positions and promotions that left him hollow. Until one day, exhausted from the pursuit, he finally listened to his heart's whispered passion, teaching children to play music. The moment he began offering lessons from genuine joy rather than obligation, opportunities arose as if summoned. Schools requested workshops, parents sought private instruction, and a community center offered him space to expand his programs. He hadn't needed to chase. He needed to create from authentic purpose. This is the pattern's sacred paradox. What you seek externally must first be acknowledged internally. Like a seed that contains its full flowering, your desires already exist within. The knocking you hear is not the world demanding entry. It is your own truth requesting recognition. The universe operates through this law of internal precedence. Before abundance manifests in your bank account, it must manifest in your beliefs. Before love appears in your life, it must bloom in your heart. Before success emerges in your career, it must first exist in your vision. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and center yourself. Gently place your hand over your heart. With eyes closed, pretend to knock softly on your own heart 3 times. As you knock, murmur these words: "Open from within. I am ready." Remain still as warmth begins to spill outward, knowing that this sensation is manifestation's first breath. Chapter 23. The Shadow That Pointed Forward. In the spaces between light and dark, wisdom whispers its subtlest teachings. What appears as obstacle often serves as pointer, and what seems to block the way secretly shows the path. Eleanor discovered this truth during her morning walks. Each dawn, she would pause to observe her shadow stretching across the dew-touched grass. At first, she saw only darkness cast by her form, until one morning brought an awakening. Her shadow always pointed west while she faced the rising sun. In that instant, she understood, even darkness holds direction. The shadow was not an absence, but an arrow. It stretched away from the light source, and in doing so, revealed exactly where that source resided. This principle echoes through all existence. Each challenge contains within it a map to its own transcendence. When you stand in uncertainty, remember that shadows only exist in relationship to light. Your doubts, fears, and hesitations are not barriers but beacons, each one silently indicating the direction of your growth. The very presence of shadow confirms the existence of illumination. Leo embodied this teaching through his journey with doubt. For years, he viewed his questioning nature as a curse, something to overcome or eliminate. His mind would spiral with uncertainties about his path, his purpose, his potential. Yet, transformation arrived when he stopped fighting these questions and began following them instead. Each doubt became a compass needle, pointing toward what required examination or evolution. When uncertainty arose about his work, it led him to deeper authenticity. When questions surfaced about relationships, they guided him toward greater honesty. His shadows, once seen as enemies, transformed into faithful guides. This is how the pattern weaves contrast into revelation. Light and dark dance together in an eternal choreography of guidance. Your shadows are not mistakes in the design. They are precise instruments of direction. Each one arrives bearing a gift of orientation, showing you exactly where to look for your next expansion. The universe speaks through this interplay of light and shadow. When confusion visits, it carries clarity in its core. When fear appears, it masks the doorway to courage. When doubt emerges, it conceals the seeds of deeper knowing. These are not opposing forces, but complementary energies, each serving the whole. Ancient practice. When worry casts its shadow across your path, pause and face it directly. Ask with gentle curiosity, "Where are you pointing me to grow?" Then follow that angle of illumination with calm attention. The shadow knows. It always points away from what dims you and toward what will light your way. Chapter 24. The String of 4 Bells. In the quietest moments of early dawn, when the veil between worlds grows thin, a simple truth emerges. The universe announces its arrivals. Through the ancient language of resonance, it prepares those who listen. A merchant named Celia discovered this wisdom through an extraordinary pattern. Each time her life approached a moment of profound change, 4 distinct bell tones would reach her ears. Not from any chapel or clock tower, but from the very fabric of existence itself. The first time she noticed these ethereal chimes, she was moments away from meeting her life's great love. The second occurrence preceded an unexpected inheritance that transformed her circumstances. At first, she questioned her sanity, but as the pattern repeated, understanding dawned. These were not mere sounds, but cosmic signals, nature's way of announcing imminent manifestation. The 4 bells rang like ripples in the pool of creation, each tone carrying a sacred message: preparation, alignment, surrender, arrival. Alfred, a humble craftsman, discovered a similar truth through numbers rather than sounds. The pattern of 4 would appear in his daily life. 4 customers requesting the same item, 4 letters arriving simultaneously, 4 birds landing on his windowsill. Each time these sequences manifested, a breakthrough in his work would follow. Through their experiences, a profound teaching emerged. The universe operates through precise rhythmic cycles. Just as waves build before breaking upon the shore, energy gathers before manifestation crystallizes into form. These signals, be they bells or numbers, serve as gentle alerts from the infinite, preparing consciousness for incoming blessings. The 4 tones represent the 4 stages of manifestation: recognition, acceptance, release, and reception. When you hear them, whether through actual sound or symbolic occurrence, your role is simply to acknowledge and allow. The pattern speaks in gentle percussion, reminding you that creation unfolds in perfect time. The ancient ones knew this truth well. They understood that before every significant shift, the universe sends its heralds. In modern times, we have forgotten to listen for these subtle announcements. Yet the language of synchronicity continues to speak, patiently waiting for those who would remember how to hear. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Envision 4 soft chimes echoing around you. After the 4th, whisper, "I'm ready." The pattern arrives gracefully. Let each tone wash over you like gentle waves, preparing your consciousness for the blessings already in motion. Close your eyes and let silence cradle you like a trusted friend. In the stillness, the first chime rings, clear, soft, and round, carrying away the remnants of haste. With it, your breath deepens, the air around you thickens with calm, and the mind loosens its grip on control. The second chime follows, resonating through the space behind your heart. It feels like light expanding, a golden ripple smoothing the inner landscape. The third arrives not from outside, but within, its vibration aligning every thought, memory, and dream into quiet cooperation. Each tone reminds you that harmony was never lost, only waiting to be remembered. Then comes the 4th chime, the whisper of completion. As its echo fades into infinity, softly say, "I'm ready." The pattern arrives gracefully. In that utterance, trust becomes tangible. You feel the unseen forces already weaving new arrangements on your behalf. The waves settle into a serene rhythm, and you realize grace has never been distant. It's simply been waiting for your readiness to feel it. Chapter 25. The Mirror Across Distance. In the realm of divine orchestration, the heart knows no distance. This truth reveals itself through the tale of 2 souls whose connection transcended physical space. Iris sat in her garden one autumn morning, overwhelmed by an unexpected surge of joy. Miles away, At that precise moment, her dearest friend experienced the identical emotion. Without phones or messages between them, their hearts had synchronized in perfect harmony. Their shared smiles, though separated by distance, created a bridge of light that the universe recognized and honored. The hidden pattern works through such connections, weaving invisible threads between kindred spirits. When you attune yourself to this sacred frequency, you discover that love needs no medium to travel. It exists simultaneously wherever consciousness opens to receive it. Within this mystery lies a profound teaching. Your thoughts and feelings ripple instantly across the fabric of creation, touching those with whom you share spiritual resonance. This is not mere coincidence, but evidence of the universe's perfect orchestration. Dean unveiled this truth during a time of discord at his workplace. Rather than engaging in conflict, he chose to sit quietly each morning, holding thoughts of harmony for his colleagues. Without a word spoken between them, tensions dissolved. The atmosphere shifted perceptibly as his focused love transformed the collective field. These experiences illuminate an eternal principle. Consciousness knows no boundaries. When you direct pure intention toward another soul, that energy transmits instantly across any perceived separation. The hidden pattern honors such offerings of the heart, allowing them to manifest simultaneously in multiple locations. This is the power you hold, the ability to touch lives through the quality of your thoughts and the purity of your feelings. Distance becomes irrelevant when you operate from this level of spiritual connection. Your loving attention creates ripples that affect the entire tapestry of existence. Ancient practice of heart, synchronization. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Bring to mind someone dear to your heart. Release all complexity and simply hold one pure thought, harmony. Feel this intention radiate outward like golden light. Trust that in this very moment, your message crosses the distance instantly as warmth. The pattern carries your love precisely where it needs to go. Chapter 26. The Paint That Refused to Dry. In a sunlit studio among ancient trees, Maud stood before her canvas, frustration etching lines across her brow. Each masterpiece she created remained perpetually wet, colors refusing to set despite days of waiting. Her paintings seemed to exist in an eternal state of flux, shifting and blending against her will. Every morning, she would return to find her careful brush strokes had merged and moved, transforming her intended images into something new. This cycle continued until exhaustion finally broke her resistance. In that moment of surrender, as she accepted that perhaps her art was meant to remain fluid, something remarkable occurred. Her paintings began to dry, their colors more vibrant than any she had achieved before. The universe speaks through such paradox. When you grasp tightly to outcomes, they remain just beyond reach, like wet paint refusing to set. It is only in releasing your hold that manifestation crystallizes into form. This truth ripples through every aspect of creation. What you allow to flow, flows toward completion. Travis discovered this same principle in matters of the heart. His relationships remained turbulent until he learned to love without demanding permanence. Each goodbye he faced with grace instead of resistance transformed into a gift, enriching rather than diminishing him. By blessing what departed, he created space for new connections to arrive. each one carrying precisely what his soul required for growth. This law of surrender operates with mathematical precision. Your grip on circumstances creates the very resistance that prevents their perfection. When you release your insistence on how things must be, you allow the hidden pattern to reveal its master stroke. What seemed incomplete finds completion. What appeared unstable discovers its natural equilibrium. Consider how a river shapes stones not through force, but through gentle persistence. Similarly, your dreams manifest not through rigid control, but through fluid acceptance. Each time you choose to release rather than restrict, you align with the universe's natural tendency toward harmony. The next time you feel caught in the tension between desire and manifestation, remember Maud's wet paintings and Travis's peaceful farewells. Your willingness to accept impermanence becomes the very force that makes things permanent. In surrender lies the seed of completion. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Imagine painting with pure light, each brushstroke luminous and alive. As you create this image, breathe out softly while affirming, "It's complete even as it changes." Notice how peace settles over you like a crystalline glaze, transforming fluid possibility into radiant reality. Chapter 27. The Echo of Tomorrow. Through life's ever-shifting canvas, you discover a truth as ancient as time itself. What you resist persists, while what you embrace transforms. The perpetually wet paint on Maud's canvas held a message for all who seek to manifest their desires. Creation remains fluid until acceptance crystallizes it into form. The teaching reveals itself through this artistic metaphor. When you grasp tightly to specific outcomes, the universe keeps your possibilities liquid, malleable, refusing to solidify into rigid form. Just as Maud's paintings stayed wet until she surrendered to their natural flow, your manifestations often remain in flux until you release your attachment to how they should appear. Those who understand this principle recognize that impermanence itself is the gateway to lasting transformation. Like Travis, who found that relationships flourished precisely when he stopped trying to preserve them in amber, you too will discover that allowing life to remain fluid paradoxically brings about the very stability you seek. The pattern works in perfect poetry. What you hold too tightly slips away, while what you set free returns transformed. This is not mere philosophy, but a practical application of universal law. When you release your grip on the brush strokes of life, allowing the colors to blend and shift naturally, you participate in creation rather than struggle against it. Consider how often your desires remain wet paint, unable to dry into reality, because you keep touching them up, adjusting them, refusing to let them be. The wisdom lies in knowing when to step back and allow the natural process of manifestation to complete itself. Just as every artist must eventually put down their brush, you must learn to trust the universe's timing in setting your dreams into permanent form. To access this power, imagine your current desires as freshly painted masterpieces. Rather than hovering anxiously over them, checking constantly if they've dried, simply step back and appreciate the beauty of the process itself. Feel the freedom in knowing that your role is not to force outcomes, but to allow them to naturally crystallize. Practice. Stand before an imaginary canvas of your life. Raise your hands as if touching wet paint, then slowly back away, whispering, "I trust the perfect timing of all things." Feel the relief as you release the need to control, allowing your manifestations to set naturally into their most beautiful form. Stand before that infinite canvas, your life as a living artwork, constantly evolving in hue and motion. See the brush strokes of every choice, the gentle smudges of every lesson, and the luminous splashes of joy that refuse to fade. As your hands hover in the air, you can feel the freshness of creation itself, still moist with possibility, alive with the fragrance of becoming. When you whisper, "I trust the perfect timing of all things," the tension in your fingertips dissolves into color. The need to fix or rush or force begins to melt, revealing the deeper rhythm already guiding the painting's unfolding. Each drip, each blend, each unexpected curve was never a mistake. It was part of the divine choreography of your unfolding self. Stepping back, you see with new eyes. Your canvas is neither finished nor flawed, it is in perpetual grace. Trust becomes the artist's breath, surrender the signature in the corner. In that space of release, life itself takes the brush, and the masterpiece completes itself in perfect living timing. Chapter 28. The Bridge of Breathlight. In an ancient monastery garden, a young woman named Phoebe sat beneath flowering trees, struggling with doubt about her life's direction. Each morning she would meditate, attempting to connect with her deepest aspirations. One dawn, as golden light filtered through the branches, she discovered something extraordinary. With each conscious exhale, she noticed a subtle luminescence emerging from her breath, forming ethereal shapes in the morning air. At first, these light patterns appeared random, but as she continued her practice, they began taking distinct forms, graceful arches and pathways leading toward the very dream she held in her heart. The more she relaxed into this practice, the more substantial these bridges of light became, until she could sense them not just with her inner vision, but as tangible possibilities in her physical world. The universe speaks through breath. This truth reveals itself in countless ways. Your every exhale carries creative force, shaping the invisible architecture of tomorrow. When aligned with clear intention, each breath becomes a builder, constructing pathways between present circumstance and future manifestation. Consider Leonard, a sculptor who discovered this same principle while working with marble. Frustrated by his inability to see the finished form within the stone, he began consciously breathing as he worked. With each exhale, he visualized light flowing from his breath into the marble. Soon, he noticed that his hand seemed guided by an invisible intelligence, as if the breathlight had created a blueprint his fingers could follow. This principle operates through a profound truth. The bridge to any destination already exists in potential form. Your breath, charged with intention, simply illuminates the path that was always there. It transforms abstract dreams into step-by-step journeys that feel natural and inevitable rather than forced or foreign. The light you exhale serves as both architect and building material. Each breath adds substance to the bridge, strengthening its structure until it becomes solid enough to walk upon. This is not metaphor, but mechanism, the actual process by which thought transforms into experience. Your breath holds the power to illuminate these bridges at any moment. As you exhale with conscious intention, watch for the subtle glow that marks the beginning of manifestation. Trust that each illuminated breath draws you closer to your vision, making solid what once seemed impossible. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths to center yourself. Now, with each exhale, visualize a soft golden mist flowing from your breath. See this light beginning to take form, creating graceful arches and steps leading toward your heart's desire. Continue breathing steadily, watching as each exhale adds strength and substance to this bridge of light. When the path feels clear and strong, begin walking it in your mind's eye, synchronizing each step with your natural breath rhythm. Let your breathing and your vision merge until they move as one unified force. Chapter 29. The Word That Spoke You. A gentle breeze whispers through a mountain village as Cora sits in her garden at sunrise. The word "be" forms on her lips without thought or effort. As she repeats it, something shifts in the morning air, not just around her, but within her very essence. The universe speaks through vibration, through the pulse of creation itself. When you align your frequency with what you seek to manifest, you transcend the space between wanting and becoming. This ancient truth reveals itself through the power of a single word, chosen with sacred intent. For Cora, "be" transforms from sound to substance. Each utterance dissolves the boundary between her current self and her deepest truth. She discovers that manifestation's final stage requires no striving, no reaching toward some distant horizon. Instead, it calls for the courage to embody what already exists within. The pattern teaches that desire itself creates separation. When you wish for something, you affirm its absence. But when you speak the word that captures your essence, you collapse time between seeking and finding. You become the very thing you once pursued. In a quiet workshop across the valley, Martin discovers this same principle through his own chosen word. Each morning, he speaks it into the silence until his actions, thoughts, and very presence align with its meaning. He no longer waits for circumstances to shift. He has learned that embodiment precedes external change. This sacred practice dates back to times when humans understood that sound shapes reality. The ancients knew that words carry creative force not through volume or repetition, but through the speaker's willingness to become what they speak. Your chosen word already lives within you. It pulses in your cells, waiting to be acknowledged. When you speak it with pure intent, you grant yourself permission to recognize what has always been true. The word itself becomes a bridge between your current awareness and your inherent wholeness. Ancient practice. In the stillness of this moment, allow your chosen word of creation to arise naturally. Speak it aloud 3 times with increasing certainty. Let each utterance ripple through your being, tuning your frequency to its truth. Then move through your day in quiet embodiment, letting your word live through you without explanation or announcement. Chapter 30. The Pattern That Turned Its Face. Within an ancient weaver's cottage, Sylvie stands before her loom, watching threads intertwine in mysterious ways. As her fingers pause between movements, the tapestry begins to shift, not by her touch, but by some unseen force. The fabric of reality itself seems to pivot, revealing a truth so fundamental it takes her breath away. You have long sensed this moment approaching, the ultimate revelation that brings the hidden pattern full circle. What you perceived as external orchestration was your own creative force at work. Every thread you thought fate was weaving was actually responding to your consciousness, your choices, your very being. The universe does not script your story. You are the author writing it with each breath, each thought, each moment of awareness. When Sylvie sees her tapestry rotate, she glimpses what you are now ready to understand. Creation flows from within, not toward you, from without. You are not the recipient of the pattern. You are its source. In the quiet of his study, Lionel experiences this same profound awakening. As he contemplates the seemingly random events that led him to this moment, clarity dawns like the first light of morning. He is not reading the story of his life. He is writing it, word by word, breath by breath. The observer and the observed unite in a single point of pure understanding. This revelation brings with it a peace that transcends all seeking. There is no destiny to chase, no fate to fulfill, only the eternal present moment where your awareness shapes reality. The hidden pattern was never hidden at all. It was simply waiting for you to recognize yourself within it. The cosmic dance of creation moves through you, as you. Every synchronicity, every meaningful coincidence, every moment of perfect timing flows from your deepening awareness of this truth. You are the artist and the art, the weaver and the tapestry, the source and the manifestation. Sacred practice. Sit gently. Envision cosmic fabrics swirling from your heart outward. Whisper, "I am the pattern, and I just noticed myself." In this gentle sitting, imagine the vast loom of existence humming quietly within you. Each breath becomes a shuttle weaving threads of starlight and breath, forming intricate tapestries of awareness that ripple outward into the cosmos. Your heartbeat keeps rhythm with galaxies, your stillness bending time into intimacy. As the vision expands, notice how every thread you send outward finds its way back, folding into a larger design that has never ceased to include you. The fabric isn't something you're separate from. It's your own consciousness made visible, shimmering with memory, desire, and infinite recognition. You are not weaving alone. Creation moves through your very noticing. And when you whisper, "I am the pattern and I just noticed myself," the universe smiles inward. This awareness is both revelation and reunion, the moment the wave remembers the ocean. Here, knowing and being collapse into one sacred pulse, the cosmos contemplating itself through you. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The pattern has fulfilled its promise. It found you exactly when readiness eclipsed resistance. Nothing random guided you to these chapters. The same intelligence that pulses through supernovas choreographed each moment that led you here. The synchronicities you've witnessed, the recurring numbers, the whispers before dawn, all were threads of recognition awakening within you. Now you perceive its rhythm in every coincidence, every 4-day tremor before manifestation. The clock that blinks, the dreams that reverse, the lantern that glows underwater. These were not merely signs, but your own consciousness becoming aware of itself. To see the pattern is to converse with creation, not request from it. You are not the supplicant, but the source. What unfolds next will seem miraculous only if you forget you authored it. The window that fogs before visitors arrive, the compass that finds true north through surrender, the seeds that bloom precisely under moonlight. These are not external forces acting upon you. They are expressions of your own creative power, recognizing itself through form. Keep noticing. Life is not events chasing you, but meaning orbiting your focus. The pattern doesn't dispense destiny. It reflects the reality you emanate. Each breath shapes the tapestry. Each thought weaves the design. Each moment of awareness crystallizes potential into form. If ever you doubt, remember, you don't wait for the pattern. The pattern waits to be recognized. And once you do, everything that was on its way finally crosses into form. It found you. You found it. The circle holds open, blessing forever in motion. The pattern has always been you, awakening to your own infinite creative nature.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.